Everyone, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I can still remember the moment when I was asked to make a pledge to uphold my high school's ephebic oath. My high school is founded upon a strong belief in a liberal arts education. When I was making the decision as an 8th grader about which high school I would attend, I was asked by those closest to me why I had decided to go where I did. For me, the reason why I chose to go to Townsend Harris and eventually SUNY Geneseo can be summarized by the last sentence in the ephebic oath. I shall not leave my city any less, but rather greater than I found it. This one sentence has been extremely formative for me. I learned in high school very quickly from my teachers that while it was important to get good grades and value academics, it was even more important for me to learn how to apply my knowledge that I gained in the classroom to my experiences outside the classroom. My teachers referred back to the ephebic oath whenever any of us asked them the purpose of studying the prose structure in Shakespeare's plays, or why we had to complete Harvard-style notes for every history reading. They said back to us, while it seems unimportant and trivial to you right now, think about the skills that you are building in the classroom, and think about how you might be able to use them for just a few years down the line. I decided to attend SUNY Geneseo for my undergraduate career to truly test whether or not I would be able to uphold the ephebic oath and apply the things I learned in the classroom in the outside world. Making the change from an urban to a rural environment was not the most seamless transition. Despite the difficulties and challenges I faced, I found solace in my classes. I enjoyed the greater independence that the professors gave us to work on assigned projects and papers. I dove headfirst into my academics at SUNY Geneseo and had unknowingly begun my first real experience with connecting how things learned in the classroom could relate to things outside the classroom. In one of the first sociology classes I took, I was provided with an opportunity to critically analyze the world around me. I remember sitting in class one day when a professor challenged us to think about the reasons why we chose to help certain organizations but not others. I remember someone raising their hand to say, "Well, that's easy. You help them because you know they need help." My professor challenged a simple statement by asking, "Well, how do you know that one cause really needs more help over another? How do you know what you're choosing to do is really helping them?" Since that class, my perspective on community service has been transformed. I have taken a more decisive stance on being a listener rather than a conversationalist in situations where I'm asked to help others in a situation. Rather than set before them a prescribed formula for help, I now ask first, what do you think needs to be done? How do you think we can be of help to you? This challenged my preconceived notion that any help was better than no help, and shaped me to be a better servant leader for the campus and the community. As I began to dip my feet into the waters of education, I thought back often to that discussion we had in sociology class, when we spoke of classroom management techniques, creating the perfect lesson plans, and the do's and don'ts of student interaction in my various education classes over the years. I just kept thinking how all those worries and frustrations could be set aside if we learned to put the needs of our students first. My education classes provided me with the opportunity to continue building upon what I had previously learned about assisting others. I had the opportunity to reflect on the process that developed me into the person that I am and understand how my own personal biases could affect my students that I would one day lead in a classroom. I remember one lesson that I had about differentiation when we were asked to complete a personality quiz that would reveal information about our own personal learning styles. When the class completed this quiz, our professor took a survey of the different learning styles in the classroom, and I remember sitting back in the chair, floored, about how diverse our class was. That lesson made me realize that if I wanted to leave my community better than I found it, I first had to recognize and adapt to the diversity that surrounded me daily. Taking what I learned in my classes, I was then requested to apply those lessons through student teaching. Student teaching provided me with an opportunity to practice what I preached. At my first student teaching placement in an urban high school in New York City, I was challenged to work with a unique and unfamiliar student population. With history being the only subject that I excelled at easily in school, I struggled to sympathize with the issues that my students had when analyzing documents and writing essays. I was challenged to put myself in their shoes and think if I was them, how would I be able to break down my lessons so that they would feel challenged yet confident that they had the skills necessary to excel. It took a few tries before I was truly able to start writing strong lesson plans that really honed in on student needs and kept their interests flowing. Being told on the last day at my placement by one of my more troubling students that I was the best teacher he ever had because I could connect with the kids was the highest compliment that I could have ever received. Now that I'm a senior, I can reflect back on the time that I've spent at this college. I truly value what my teachers mean when they say that the skills taught to us in the classroom will help us as we learn how to make our community greater than we found it. As I take the next step to be a future educator myself, I want to take what I've learned through my liberal arts education and provide my students with similar opportunities. I want to develop a diverse classroom that will provide chances for students to actively engage in the material that they're learning and to critically analyze and reflect on their personal values and ethics so that they too can become active citizens who will leave their community greater than they found it.